Hey, what's going on, everyone? New World Order Survival Guide. Today, I want to get into my long-term survival list. Shit is popping off right now. Trump, as you all heard, bombed 3 targets in Iran. There's threats of closing that part of the ocean, and lots of reports of high gas prices and a complete basically shutdown on a lot of products coming from China. As you know, we get mostly everything from China, everyday stuff. I mean, you go to Cabela's, everything's made from China. I like Cabela's, but the point of it is we all need to get prepared, right? That's what needs to be done. So here is very important basic items. It goes a little pretty good detail of a lot of stuff, but I'm gonna try to zoom by this. I'm not really gonna show many, hardly any items, because it would just take forever. So let's hurry up and get into it. This Iran deal, nobody knows what to make of it, right? We've been through this before. We've seen this before. We heard the threats. We took out some of their leaders and military generals and stuff like that, and nothing really came about. But as you can tell, this is pushing for the New World Order. I mean, ever more closer. And so we as citizens need to stay prepared. Don't let your guard down. That's the most important thing. Do not let your guard down. Because one of these times, it's going to happen. And for the big one, where everything is going to need to take play and take effect. Now, regardless, they're spoon feeding us closer and closer to this New World Order. Period. We are just waiting for the final shit hits the fan deal with this. So don't let that spoon feeding deter you, because that's part of their tactic. They don't want to do it all at once because they don't want to create this civil war, revolution war, whatever you want to call it. So they do it little by little. Just like they take away your freedoms and liberties little by little. And then make excuses for it and cry out, it's in the name of your safety. But they do it little by little because it's a technique that they use to not amp up and rile up the sheep. So they consistently use this technique. Don't let your guard down, people. Be smart in that. Always be prepared. And this is a list that I put together. Excuse me if I forgot some stuff. I'm sure I did. I just thought I needed to make up some sort of show for you guys that can hopefully motivate and get as much of this type of stuff as you can before it's too late. Because when it's too late, it's going to be too late. There's going to be people bombarding the stores, buying up everything, and you're going to be left with nothing. So let's get into some of this stuff. My long-term survival list consists of, first and foremost, let's just start. This is no particular order because it's a bunch of stuff. Water containers. Everybody needs water containers, jugs, water bottles, tanks. Now, again, this is not being particular to home or bug out. This is just some of the necessities that you will need unless you're a professional, professional survivalist. So, water containers is a need. You need to be able to go get water, transport it, maybe various of sizes, because you never know. You might want to get big 5-gallon, 10-gallon, whatever. Maybe you'll keep that in one stationary place while you go get buckets or whatever, transport water, and then you can filter it when you get to your stationary location. But containers are very important. Otherwise, you have a water bottle, you're going to being next to a water source, right next to a water source. There's going to be some issues because not only mosquitoes and bugs and stuff like that, but that's where a lot of people are going to be locating, is next to water sources. So you got to be careful and take that in consideration. Gravity water purification systems. There's many different types. For an example, Berkey water filtration system. There are others like it, and some reports and stuff even say they're even better than Berkey. But that type of system, because you don't need any electricity, you don't need pumps, you don't need none of that. Something to think about. Also, some sort of distiller may work just as good. You can get little tiny distillers. You can make your homemade one. Get a little roll of soft copper and some sort of metal, stainless steel, single layer water bottle. You have to makeshift it yourself. There's many different ways. Water bottles, absolutely. Stainless steel, copper, or titanium are the choices that you'd want to make because they'll last a lot longer. And plus you can put fire to it and it's non-harmful to you. So take that consideration. Moving on, books. There's tons of books to forage, to eat, for medical, for dental, all sorts of books. I've showed it on my previous shows. Take this seriously. You have as much as you need to eat from wild edible plants, not to mention medicinal plants out there. Of course, winter is going to be a little more scarce, but you can still eat winter plants, especially if you live in climates and areas that your plants grow all year long. But specifically referring to mountainous terrains, cold temperature terrains for the winter and late fall, early spring, there are stuff you could do to eat wild edible plants and trees. You need books. Buy books specific to your area. Read up on them. Have them. You have them in a library. I'm talking about long-term survival. You're set up somewhere. Okay, this is more referring to you're set up somewhere whether you bug out a location or something, you have like a little library of very important books that pertain to your needs. Dental, medical, wild edible, and medicinal. If you need be, if you're not familiar how to make shelter, how to make fire, how to do anything, books. They're not very big. They're not this big. They're like this. But you get some of the good ones. They're very detailed, and there's some very good books. I have a couple dozen of them of various types. Once you read it, once you know it, you don't need to carry them books. But if you have a location, or if you're bugging into your house, some sort of library of books can be very extremely valuable to your survival situation. Moving on. Seeds. Long-term seeds. They have a shelf life of like 3 years, whatever. They say you put them in the freezer and you can get like 10 years or whatever. No, it just the germination rate lowers. They find ancient seeds here and there frequently from many hundreds of years, and they get some of them to germinate, and then they reproduce them, and then they start distributing them out. Like for an example, like Jim corn, ancient Indian corn that they thought to be extinct. They found some in a basement in a dweller, and they regrew it, and it worked. Like I said, the older it is, germination rate is not going to be the top peak of what it was, but you'll still get some of those to grow. I grew 20-year-old seeds, and in a place that wasn't cool, and is pretty warm and stuff like that. I grew a whole 1/4 acre of them old seeds. I have some seeds here I can go buy real quick, but I always buy heirloom because they're packed with the nutrition. They're basically organic seeds. They will reproduce, unlike a lot of, like if you go to try to regrow seeds out of the fruit and stuff at the grocery store, good luck. You're going to get skimpy, crappy fruit and seeds, and then after that, they're likely never to grow again after that first setting. But, you can buy bulk. I'm going to put on my spectacles because I have trouble seeing. 24,000 watercress, non-GMO. It's one of the healthiest, most nutrition-packed vegetables you can buy. Don't believe me? Look it up. Watercress. Otherwise, I wouldn't even want to buy this. I researched what is the most nutrient-dense vegetable that I could buy, and this is one of them. 24,000 seeds. Non-GMO, heirloom. Here's more. This, I don't know how much this is. Oh, this is 2,000 seeds. This is 1,000 seeds. These are all watercress, just watercress. I get seeds from everywhere. I just do research and make sure it's the real deal. Non-GMO, non-hybrid, just good heirloom seeds. This one, It's in a Mylar bag, and it just has a whole variety of different fruits and vegetables in here. These, I keep them in these Ziploc bags, gallon Ziploc bags, and then all in individual Mylar bags. And then I do have some oxygen absorbers in here, as well as moisture absorbers. This is just everything. I mean, this peppers to everything, just odds and ends. I mean, I have hundreds of thousands of seeds. This is just more empty Mylar bags ready for more seeds. This is like broccoli seeds. I have a crap load in here. Cauliflower and broccoli. Right here. And these I order online. You can get them on Amazon. You can get them on eBay. You look for the farmers. You look for the top ratings. These are tomato seeds. I mean, there's tons of thousands in here. Don't let these little bags fool you. They're packed with good quality seeds. I have 25 to 30 varieties in here. Just tons and tons of seeds. Tomatoes. And you might want to get specific to your area on some of these. Because like if you live in Arizona, you might get a little different seeds than you would like Alaska or Minnesota or Colorado or something. Kale. This one package, 30,000 seeds. We all know how nutritious kale is. And I have all these other different types of kales in here. Just tons of thousands of the best species, most nutritious species of kale that I could find. Onion and green onion and leeks. So yeah, a lot of people think that you have to get like for potatoes that you have to get like, you know, have like little sprout things for it and shit. No, you can look up true seed potatoes, true potato seeds, whatever, however you want to put it, and they literally have seeds for potatoes. Zucchini, and here's a big old sack. I mean, probably a couple 100,000 at least spinach seeds, all different varieties, all different kinds, tons. This is like zucchini. I got 1 pound of zucchini, which I divided up into smaller bags. And then I got all these other bags of different types of zucchinis and stuff. I got cabbages. I got, you know, then I got big old thing of these oxygen absorbers and moisture absorbers. I just got tons. I won't break it all out and bore you guys with it. But you're talking about long-term storage. I keep a list of how many seeds and of each species and stuff like that. You can do however you please. And I'm still going to get a lot more seeds. But I got to get a move on because the way things are going, people are on a buying market right now. Then, of course, let me put these in here. I keep everything in the food grade bucket with the twist on lid. And I usually just throw this whole thing in one of my chest freezers. But like I said, no need. It's very important for seeds. A lot of people seem to forget about that these days. It used to be an absolute common practice back in the day, especially during the Depression era and stuff like that. Need seeds. Let's move on. Shelter, tents, beddings, tarps. It's a must. It's a must. It's always smart to even have that stuff, even if you're going to bug in. A good tent, if you're going to be trekking or whatever, then obviously you don't want a hot tent because those are like canvas type materials and they're often quite heavy. But if you have a bug out location, a hot tent will be great. But if, not a necessity, but you can fit a lot more stuff in there. You can put a portable stove in there and everything and keep everything warm and toasty, especially in the colder climates in certain regions. So, shelter. Like I said, if you know how to build shelter, if you are into the primitive, that's great. You know what I mean? You can do all kinds of different types of primitive skill sets for shelters. Moving on, solar. Little solar panels. That's especially referring to not really phones, because you ain't going to get phone service anyways. You can use your phones for pre-downloaded stuff, and that's fine, but that's not what I'm talking about. Today's gadgets, you can find so much that use a USB-C cord, as in flashlights, hand radios, and all sorts of other stuff that you can use, lanterns, everything, USB-C port connected to, and I got power bank, but I mean, really, how long are these going to last? And you got some reports of some of these brands that they explode, just like some of them phones and stuff. These are good for, mediocre stuff, but for long term, it's okay to have one, but I'd be more inclined to have a good quality solar panel that you can fold up, good quality, and you can charge your flashlights, lanterns, and other stuff that would take USB-C that you'll be so inclined to use. Lights, lanterns, flashlights. It's good, obviously, to have those. You're going to need light, travel, to look at what you're doing at night, signaling, whatever. Obviously have those, and it's smart to get spare parts. LEDs are the best because they last the longest. They consume the less energy. So LED flashlights and lanterns, headlight, whatever, great. Tools. You need urban tools. Like I showed you before. Knipex, bolt cutters, whatever. These tools, multi-tool. You need tools. You need some kind of tools. Garden tools for the seeds. You want to mend the soil. You want to be able to have something to rough up that ground so you can mix in compost matter and stuff like that. You may need to fix your glasses. You may need to fix your fishing poles. Anything. Get tools accordingly to the stuff that you think you may need. Firearms. Tools for that. Maybe some oil lube, some cleaning brush. There's a barrage of tools. Tools, very important, depending on what you need it for. Fuel containers, gas, diesel, kerosene, propane. Now, you really can't store gasoline for so long. You can store kerosene a heck of a lot longer. Um, Diesel lasts longer than gasoline. Propane can last forever. And same with some of these other type of fuels. But containers, very important, especially if you're having a vehicle. And what goes along with this is some sort of siphon. Not only siphon for water, because you might need a siphon for water in certain situations, but you absolutely may need some kind of fuel siphon. And I suggest non-electrical. There's many different kinds. They're very effective these days. Take that into consideration. Mess kit, pots, pans, plates, bowls, sporks, whatever, knives, cooking, some sort of mess kit. Absolutely relevant to a survival kit. And this damn fly keeps on getting on me. Thought I had a damn fly swatter. Oh yeah, I do. So moving on. Cleaning, soaps. I highly suggest dish soap because you can have soap for laundry soap and all this stuff. Get some good, strong dish soap. Dawn makes some. Palmolive makes some. They got the triple time, 5-time, whatever strength. That's great. You can wash clothes with that. Obviously, you just hang dry your clothes. You can clean dishes. You can clean yourself. I wouldn't really, because it's basically a detergent. So, but you can clean a lot of stuff with just dish soap. I mean, you can have bleach and stuff like that, and that can help purify water as well, and a lot of other stuff. But have some sort of cleaning agents. Even baking soda. Baking soda is great for a lot of stuff as well as for your teeth. But it cleans a bunch of variety of other stuff. And not to mention there are some health benefits from sodium bicarbonate. Jump right into hygiene. Deodorant, soap, like a bar soap. Toothbrush, toothpaste, things like that is absolute necessity because you don't want to get a mouthful of bacteria and it's just going to cause more issues. So, very important. You don't want cavities. You don't want tooth decay. You don't want something that you're going to regret later. Hygiene kit is a must. Let's move on. Well, including that, some sort of toilet paper. You can use them coin tissue pills. Like I said, you get a box of 500 for like 20 something bucks. Just to dunk it in water, unravel it, and you have a wet wipe, which is a hell of a lot more hygienic than regular toilet paper, especially when you don't have access to a shower or bath, because there's not going to be any running water at the pad, and you don't want to sit there and contaminate every body of water that you come across anyways, especially if you're staying in that location and you need to retrieve some of that water for drinking. So, excellent idea. You need some sort of cloth to wipe yourself, to clean yourself. Towel. Hairbrush, I ain't got to worry about that. But some of you do. You don't want to get that all natted up because it's going to create a bigger problem than you thought. Maybe a comb, maybe something just to keep yourself from getting all natted up. A sewing kit, very important. Along, not just a sewing kit, but not just a thread and needle, but you need glue, patches, some sort of kit like that to repair your clothes. Because if you have a good shirt, got a rip in it, or you're only limited on how much clothes you're going to have, especially if you're in a bug out situation. You have just a little kit. You can put it in something like this. Altoid type container. You can put your little needles, various different kinds of thread. You can even put a couple patches in. You may want one for clothing, and you want one for like tent repair. You have little tubes of glue. If you have a location, you might want a bigger thing of glue. And it'll last a very long time. Just keep it out the sun. But some sort of sewing repair kit for clothing and shelter or whatever, very good. Moving on. Medical kit, obviously, very important. You want chapstick, you want EpiPen, you want some sort of antihistamine, like some Benadryl or something, because there's a lot of things out there that could screw you up because you'll have an allergic reaction, and you want some sort of antihistamine to go ahead and taper that out. Also, peroxide, very important. You get a little cut. I mean, I have some freaking little cuts right now, and they're annoying, and they're kind of getting infected already. You know, it's nothing now, but if I was out, it can get infected, and that could be the death of you. That little cut right there could be the death of you. There's all kinds of things, man. Peroxide, good for oral hygiene. Is good for, you could use it for many different uses in it. You can use it for your garden. You can use baking soda for your garden. And it'll kill and a lot of the bad stuff that creates disease on your plants. You could put like a tablespoon to a gallon of water, and it'll prevent those diseases from appearing on your plants and ruining your garden. That's a whole different show. Dental kit. Oh, not leaving the medical yet. You got the antibiotic type thing. You got the antibiotic creams, petroleum jelly type thing. You got chapstick, sunburn stuff, little burn kit in there. There's tons of things. Sutures, quick clot, all sorts of things that you can throw into a medical kit. That's important. I highly suggest don't buy one of them stupid ass medical kits online that's already made, because they're way overpriced and they're just full of gauzes and band-aids, and it's stupid shit. Put together your own medical kit. It'll be cheaper and a lot more effective. Let's see. And that also goes for dental kit. I have dental books. I have medical books for civilian like me, like not educated in the medical field or dental field at all, like most of us are not. And it shows you how to do operational procedures for a civilian type of way. We are civilians. We're not in that field. So it kind of simplifies it, more like a survival medical emergency book. But they sell dental kits. Tooth pain is one of the worst pains there is. There's survival books, dental survival books, which I have some, that shows you what to do for stuff like that. Look into it. I mean, it'll save you from wanting to take yourself out. That pain is so highly, intense. Coolers. You get meat, you get fish, whatever. Coolers is good if you're in a stationary bug out location or at home. There's no electricity. Your fridge ain't working. None of that. Coolers is good. It keeps bugs. It keeps all that crap out of there. Keeps it airtight. Bags, contractor bags, Ziploc bags, trash bags. You need bags, especially for like sanitary trash. I mean, you can store stuff in there. You can put stuff in. But as far as you're going to the bathroom, what are you going to do? What are you going to do with that? That's something that most people don't think about. When you go to the restroom, number 2, specifically, what are you going to do with that? You're bugging in, whatever. Where's that going to go? You got to take that in consideration. So you're going to need trash bags, unless you have some sort of septic tank and stuff like that. But if you ain't got running water, good luck, because it's going to be way difficult to handle that. So think about bags. You can carry stuff you can protect, waterproof stuff. Many uses for bags. Fishing line, reels, hooks, bait, whatever, jigs, fishing equipment. You already know it's great to have extra. I have a tackle box that has freaking hundreds of hooks and all this stuff. Just full packed. Some of you might not need it. Some of you might not be near any body of water that really has fish or not much fish, and it's just more trouble than what it's worth. That's fine. But like me, I live within 45 minutes of over 400 lakes. So I use fishing gear. Let's see, weapons, firearms, knives, bow and arrows, even deterrents like bear mace and stuff like that. Very important, because you got to protect what you have. You absolutely need firearms, and you need tons of ammunition, as much as you can get for your specific weapons. You have knives, you need knife sharpeners. You need to have abundance of ways to defend yourself. Not to mention it's multi-purpose. You can use them for hunting. You could, knives to dress an animal, whatever. You know what the hell knives are for and what you could do with it. And you know all the ways you can use guns too. Clothes. You need hats, gloves, shoes, rain gear. You need your ponchos. You need good quality shoes. And if you can, have 2 or 3 pairs of shoes. We're talking about in a long time survival situation. Have shoe glue in your pack or in your supply that you can repair it when time needs be. Different varieties of guns for different types of situation. Not just talking about self-defense, but also hunting. Shotguns are one of the greatest versatile weapons you can get, in my opinion, because you can use it for everything. You can use it for hunting. You can use it for self-defense. You can use it, various hunting. They got various types of. You can take down bear with it. You can take down freaking squirrel with it. You can, because it has so many varieties of different ammunition for different types of things. Shotguns are great. Moving on, tape, paracord, and glue. Some sort of binding agents, or paracord you can use for tons of stuff. Paracord, definitely. You already know what you can use it for. Tape, glue, use it for anything. Very, very good to have in your survival kit. Fire starters, lighters. You can buy a whole pack of big lighters. I think 5 in a pack for like $5 or $4. You have your ferro rod kit. You have just different types. Stock up on that. Now, all these things I'm talking about, you can use them as barter items for stuff that you haven't accumulated that you find out later. Bartering items are a very strong commodity when it comes to survival. So what you can get access for, what you can get deals on, that you can find out, or that you think that would be handy for other people as well. It's always good to have extra, especially when you're sitting there trying to prep for a long-term survival situation. Pick up a few extra of them items. Because there's people that might have an abundance of meat. They might have some meat that's going to go bad if they don't hurry up and trade it for someone or for something. And you have a whole abundance of one particular item. Their meat's going to go bad. They can't eat no more. So they're going to offer you and your family a big chunk of meat for maybe a couple lighters or something. You know what I mean? Or maybe they don't have water filters, so you can purify a few gallons of water for them for a big chunk of meat. I mean, you never know. Navigation. Compasses, maps, very important. Especially when traveling, obviously, in a bug out situation. It's good to have some, because you don't know when martial law is coming. You don't know when you're going to be invaded. It's good to have it on hand. I got maps everywhere for around here, even though I know my way. Compass. I carry this military compass. This is a little more. There's different kinds of compasses. This one's, it takes some studying and some know-how to use this type of compass. I still got a lot to learn on this compass. I got some of the basics down, but yeah, I didn't know how crucial it was until after I bought it, and I was like, oh crap, what the hell is all this shit in here? And I'm like, God dang. So then I started looking up and finding out more about it. But yeah, it is a good chunk to learn, but it's doable. You just have to learn a few of the basics of understanding of what this compass is and how to read it and stuff like that. But it's not too bad. Communication. I'm even talking about whistles, mirrors, and hand radios. Some sort of communication. other than a cell phone that you could, well, for instance, the radios, you can use a USB-C, universal to all your other devices. There's books on this too. You could put preloaded stuff in here that you do from a computer now. So, just in case and when shit hits the fan, you have all that pre-downloaded stuff, and you don't need the internet after you pre-install it into there. So, last two is practice and condition. Practice using the gear that you have. Practice and reading up on these. Fire starting if you don't know how. Repairing different things. Because when you're under the stress, you're under certain situations, your mind's going to be so scattered, you might not even have the patience to sit there and deal with this shit or try to understand. But you practice it, it's muscle memory. You know, you already know what to do without even really thinking. Condition yourself. Condition your body. You plan on bugging out, it's very smart for you to go on hikes and get your legs, get your body used to hiking through certain terrains, through the heat, through the snow, whatever your situation where you're at. Higher altitude. Condition your heart. Condition. Very important, because you think you're just going to go out and, I can hike and blah, blah. And your heart is not used to that. Plus, on top of all that adrenaline and stress and, who knows what's around you and what's coming after you, whatever, it's going to put a lot of strain on you. More ready you are physically and mentally, the better off you're going to be. Last but not least, explore your location. Wherever you think you're going to bug out to, explore those locations. Maybe just go out freaking miles away, deep into something, and just go for a four-wheel ATV drive or hike or something. Just go out off the trail if you can, if you can locate where you're at and how to get back and stuff like that. Try to find areas that you don't see people trekking through on trails, and try to find location where you may consider bugging out to. Then you can always pre-put stuff there, bury it, whatever, and that'll be less you have to deal with when shit actually does hit the fan. It's all about prepping in all aspects. It's not about getting cases of water or whatever. Prepping for survival is every scenario. That's what people seem to forget or not think about. It's being prepared for combat. It's being prepared to hunt, to do everything. It's not about what you accumulate, but it's about what you know up here. Very important. It's prepping for survival is all about skill set more than anything, more than any supplies that you have. Why do you think these primitive type survivalists, they don't need shit? They don't need nothing or next to nothing. They get everything they need from out. A lot of these homeless people and these street people, they don't need nothing. they can get everything throughout in the street they need to survive. For instance, if you're in an urban situation, the more you know, the less you got to carry on your back. So that's it. I just want to go over some of them things, very important things that I think a lot of you guys needed to hear. A lot of you already watching this stuff. You're already into this stuff. You already know a lot of stuff. But, you know, it's getting closer. It's getting closer. So, everybody stay safe. Please like, share, subscribe. New World Order Survival Guy. Catch you on the next one.